Hi guys, this is Chiefland Cables. I am going to explain some key areas around C programming language. Uh, I'm going to start with the first page, and I'm going to use both Shona and English so that we could understand so easily. Right. Introduction to C programming language. C is a programming language which was introduced by D.M. Rich in 1972 at Bell Labs. So the thing is, kwaitomboene mamwe malanguages anga ariko kudhara, but C yakazouya ikaintroducwa naDM Rich in 1972. So there are certain areas we should know, and these areas are, for example, you should know what is a program, what is an algorithm. You have to understand input, output, then you should be able to draw my flowcharts. Then you should know my types of errors, for example, logical error, amongst others. So basically, a program is just a set of instructions anenge achifanira kusolva a certain problem, and then an algorithm, we can say an algorithm, these are just steps. An algorithm angori steps that we go through, kana kuti masteps atinopindana nawo kuti tikwanise kusolva a certain problem. But according to me, according to Chiefland Cables, an algorithm is a stepwise manipulation of data structure. Right, you get to understand as you progress. So then you have got to know something about input output, because the purpose of a computer is to get user input, then give out the desired output. Let's say you enter a number, you enter a second number, you expect the computer to display an answer, be it a product or a sum of those two numbers. Something like that. So we should know kuti input yedu iri kufamba sei, then output yedu tinoiwana sei. We get the input from the keyboard and we get the output on the screen, something like that. So my instructions, we feed them through the keyboard and then we get the output on the screen. So when we are in C, the major input functions that tinana wanna get wanna scanf, then my output methods tinana put, then puts, then we have got printf. Then flowchart iri kungotaura kuti how the program is going to work, uchatangira papo uchienda nekupi, uchizvifambisa sei. Then we have got my errors, obvious. We have got for example, error yatinayo inonzi logical error. Logical error is inobuda kana isusu tikanyora code, tinenge tichifunga kuti tanyora chaizvo but tozoona kuti code iri kurana but ichitipa output yekunyepa. This is an example for errors yatinawo. Then learning C is very easy, and learning C, C, if you take my steps aunoshandisa uchidzidza, be it Shona language or English language or Chinese or whatever or Hindi, we can say kuti, you can see that my steps atinofollowa when we are learning C language, when we are learning English language, we start by learning my alphabets, for example A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then if you combine my alphabets, you get my words. Then if you combine my words, you get my sentences. Then sentences becomes my paragraphs, and the paragraphs become my pages. Pages becomes a menu tichingoenda achiita mabooks, books kusvika mavolumes, kusvika library. So that's what we do in C. In C, we have got my alphabets, and we have got A to Z in lowercase my alphabets. Then we have got A to Z in uppercase. Then we have got my digits. Then we have got my special symbols, and those tikazibatanidza tinobuda nema-constants, ma-variables, ma-keywords. For example, keyword rinonzi int. Int toita tobatanidza ma-alphabets. Then we've got my special symbols, for example, ana hash, my curly brackets, my exclamation mark, and so forth and so forth. And then after that, if we combine my constants, my variables, my keywords, we are going to get my instructions. Then if we combine my instructions, then we have the final program. That's how it is. Those are the basics. If you look at these things, if you master these things, then you find yourself kuti autamburi. Then if we go to the next page, we are looking at the fundamental building blocks. If you want to be a programmer, those are some of the things you have to consider when you are doing C language. These are some of the building blocks, fundamental building blocks. We have got keywords, we have got data types. You should know data types. You should know my functions. My functions actually should know my functions, nema types acho. We have got my functions ane return nemamwe asinga return. Those are some of the types. My functions ane ma arguments nemamwe asinachi ma arguments. Those are the functions. Then we've got the control statements, because we need to control the way in which our program flows. Imagine in a world yekuti dai mabhazi kana kuti mota zvisina mabrakes, how were we going to handle the situation? Obvious, we are going to have chaos very serious. So my control statements, these are just mechanisms atinoshandisa kuona kuti how our program ichange ichishanda sei. Maybe sometimes our program should take a break, sometimes our program should stop to execute and stuff. Then we've got my arrays. Those are some of the data structures that we are going to come across. My arrays, we have my structures, those things you should know. My unions, my operators, okay, data types akadzokorodzwa. Anyway, okay, we are saying kuti pazvinhu zviri ipapa, my functions, you should know the syntax for declaring a function. Then you should know how to call a function. Then an array, you should know the syntax of an array, and you should know how to manipulate the elements of an array, right? You should know how to add elements into an array, how to delete elements from an array, how to search. Then there are lots of things you should know about an array, right? The syntax, the way in which you are going to display elements, and the way in which you are going to insert or delete. Then you have got my structures. My structures, they are very important because pane vaanoshanda. Then you have got my unions, right? Structures, unions, and arrays, you should know how to manipulate them. How you should know the syntax and it. Then tikabva ipapa, we are going to look at these are some of the keywords that I've listed here. They are haasi ese, but ndo mamwe acho. We have auto, break, char, const, continue, default, do, double, else, enum, extend, float, for, go to, if, int, long, register, return, short, signed, size of, static, struct, switch, type defined, union, unsigned, void, volatile, while. So those are some of the keywords that tinadzo kuchi you see ndo zvatange tichitongoshanda nazvo izvozvo izvi. So my keywords iwaya, they are very important, right? Tasina ma keywords hapana nyaya. Then we have my data types. Saka we can look kuti my data types edu tina int, float, char, double. Those are the primitive, not primitive data types. Then kunozouya secondary data types. So for example, if you want to declare int number, a variable inonzi number, unoti int number, maybe it's a mark, int mark, float, average, zvichienda zvakadaro, char username, and it. Then after that we can see kuti pamberi pedu tine we should know the basic structure of a program. This is how your C program should be structured, and it the first thing you can write, my command lines, they are very important. You should know my command line. Why we use my command lines? Because sometimes you are going to share your program with someone. You are going to share, maybe you are working as a team of programmers. Your fellows, you should know what are you trying to communicate, meaning a program yako iri kuzama kuita sei. So we do that through my command lines. Let's say you are employed at a certain company, and basa rako robva rapera kana kutobva wachinja wobva waenda kune imwe company. So kana wasiyira vanhu code yako, they will need to read through, because macodes kana achinyorwa they continue to iterate. Saka vanofanira kuziva kuti pawakasiyira apa meaning yako inge iri yechii. And then we have got anonzi preprocessor directive. These are the preprocessor commands that we use kumusoro kweprogram, especially when you are in C. Paunoti hash include, you are telling the compiler to include something like the standard library, or the standard input output library, or something else, or your own header file raunenge wacreata iwewe. So you are telling the compiler to include that file using the preprocessor directive or the preprocessor command. Then we've got the global variable declaration. When we are talking about the global variables can be seen anywhere around the program. They can be seen anywhere and they can be accessed from anywhere. They are not private, they are public variables that can be accessed from anywhere. So which means let's say if you have got a girlfriend, if your girlfriend is global, that means you are at a risk here, because she can be accessed from anywhere by anyone. Anyone can use here. So that's what is global variable means. Saka isusu tine mamwe mavariables ekuti anenge achida kuzoshayiwa across, and ada kuzoshayiwa nemamwe masubprograms, or ada kuzoshayiwa along the way. So we declare them global. So toregera kuramba chingoma declare katu, right? Then we've got the main function. The main function, though the main entry, though get rachona iroriri. If you are into operating systems, if you create your own operating system, unozoona kuti panenge patori nepamwe pamain entry painovhura napo. So the main function inoi ndo the key. Hakuna kwaunoenda usina main function. Zvakafanana nekuti uda kupinda muclass, you cannot go into the classroom usina kupfura nepadoor. So ndo main function yako, ndo basa remain function. Even kudenga haukwanisi kuenda usina kupfura nepamagedhi emweya, right? So you can see now you have got local variables. Local variables ndo wana int a, b, c, vanani zvatino declare paya, and it after the main function, then and out within the main function. Yeah, then we have got the statements. Statements are if chakati is greater than chakati, then do this. Then we have got my user defined functions. My user defined functions ndo auchagadzira uchati kana kuti int ugadzira rectangle area, kana kuti int product function, whatever function yauchagadzira iwewe yemumusoro mako. Those are the user defined functions. Then we are going to see, this is our first program. Everything begins with hello world. in programming, everything begins with hello world. This is the beginning, but it doesn't mean kuti you are supposed to stay here. Under normal circumstances, hello world anowanzoshandiswa toda kungotesta chete kuti zvinhu zvedu zvataita zviri kushanda here. But anyway, anyhow, we are going to see that hello world just a starting point. But it is important because, as you can see now, I have actually imported, or I've actually included the standard input output header file. This is where we get malfunctions like on a scanf, printf, and stuff. And it. So then I say int main, right? Then I say printf. This is a string of characters that I'm going to and screen bang. So I use the printf function, right? Hash include stdio dot h, then int main, the main function, right? Then we can say printf hello world. Apa ndatongosiyirira zvangu mabrackets pana main apo, mabrackets aifana kuoneka. Then we are saying kuti panapa panofana kunge paine mabrackets ipapa, right? I cannot put them now. Let me leave it zvazviri izvozvo. Then we are now going next step. Shit. Actually, the PowerPoint is just failing it. Okay, I'm back. All right, I'm now going by next step. Right, this is those are the basic data types. I think ndambostaura int, char, double, float. Right, then I go per next. Then let's say you're asked to print hello world 5 times. The hello world we have started with, right? The first thing you're going to do is like you're saying hash include stdio.h, then you're saying int main, right? Then which means that we got int main, you are going to say okay, printf hello world, printf hello world, printf hello, printf kusvika main. But the challenge with this program is, let's say you're being asked to print hello world for 100 times or for 500 times. Are you going to type those 500 lines? That's insane. Yeah, it's not that good. But actually, we have got our own way of doing things as programmers. You are going to see this program is very important because sometimes we just need to create a program yekuti ukasvika pacollege pagedhi inokutaura kuti welcome to chikoro chakati chakati, inongoramba ichiflowa. Saka we need this kind of a program, and it, but sometimes inenge iri embedded pamachips and stuff. So we are going to look at those things later on, right? So instead of printing hello world kuti urambe uchitype, instead of typing 5 lines or typing 10 lines or 100 lines, in this case I used what I call for loop, right? This is an introduction to loops, and it, saka this for loop, as you can see now, ndaedera a comment line, comment inonzi hello world 5 times using for loop, and it, and you can see now kuti okay, zvandine comment line rangu rakadai, so macomment lines anoignorewa necompiler. Compiler ina basa necomment line, and it, so you can say they cannot be executed. They are just ignored. They are just there for the program readability. Yeah. Then we are now seeing good. I've said hash include stdio.h. Then I've got int main. Then I've got for int I is equals to 0, I less than or equal to 5, which means the program is going to iterate and iterate kusvika pa 5. 5 is the limit. Then I plus plus, which means good. This is, I'm incrementing I until I get to the 5th. I don't know, the fifth station or whatever. Kusvika pa 5 or the 5th count. Okay. then I say print f hello world. So this program will print hello world 5 times. If I put 100 times, it will still print 100 times. If I put infinite, inongoramba ichiprinta zvekuti sometimes you can go to UK or you can go to India ukanodzoka ichingorana chete ugodye sadza ichirana. That's it. That ndo panenge pazopindawo infinite loop. So this is the introduction to for loop. How do we use for loops? Right? We use them kuti tiite repetitive tasks. Repetitive tasks. So then the next thing that I'm going to look is variables. This is a simple program iri kushandisa variable. Command line yangu iripo simple program to add two numbers. Right? This is an introduction to variables. If you look at this program, we can say hash include stdio.h. This time I now kangana kuisa brackets. They are there int main. Then I have said int num1 is equals to 5, int num2 is equals to 10, int sum. Then sum is equals to num1 plus num2. Then I can say printf %d plus %d is equals to %d. Then I put comma num1, num2, and g and sum, then return 0. So this program, as you can see now, pandinoti int num1, what does the word variable mean? What is a variable? A variable is a memory location. The moment I can say int, I'm specifying that the variable is of integer type. If I was to say float, which means inenge of floating type, but this is an integer. So what happens is kuti inono create a memory location inonzi num1, which means kuti program kana yakuzo execute inonotsvaga variable iroro by address kwariri mumemory, then inonotsvaga rimwe rechitu yobva yaperforma the instruction. Mukatarisa muramu medu muya pane zvinoitika mukazotarisa the basic architecture yecomputer, you can see panozoitwa zvana fetch decode whatever. We are going to explain later on, but for the moment you should know int num1 is equals to 5, int num2 is equals to 10, then int sum is equals to num1 plus num2. Then we say printf %d. %d is just a space holder for integer values. Then ukangodaro watopedza masports. Chimwe chandingangoda kutsanangura ndechekuti please you should always adhere to best programming practices. Kushandisa na int a, int b, it's not that good. You should specify char password, int password, char username, char chakati, kwete kungoti char a is equals to Nicholas, char b is equals to Grace. That's not it. You should actually specify kuti char username, char surname, and it that tofana kunyatsoita maprogram variable naming yedu ngaive iri up to standard, kwete kungoshandiswa na abc. Then when we say return 0 just means kuti after execution the main function returns 0 to the operating system. So as you can see my variables, we are saying kuti these are the memory locations that neta creator. Ukada kushandisa variable is now declare, you get an error. Why? Because you are trying to refer kuchinhu chisipo, and you are trying to go back kuchinhu chisipo, kunoshedza munhu asipo kuti uya undibatsire basa. Obvious you get zvisipo, hauna chaunowana. Saka kana iri computer inobva yaita chi, inobva yakupa error. So the first thing before using a variable, you have to declare the variable. Then from there you can see I have got my functions. I think earlier on ndambotaura nezve function. This is an example of a user defined function, and iri global section, saka I can easily call that function. As you can see now, the function ine ma arguments too. I have said int a, int b, right? Those are the arguments a function yangu, and the function is int product function, then int a, int b. Those are the arguments. Then I say, what do I want the function to do for me? I want it to multiply. So I can simply say return a times b. So as you can see, this product function, zviri kureva kuti the syntax for declaring a function unotanga nedata type, be it int, void or whatever. Then you write the function name of what my brackets. If possible unoisa maarguments, kana usingadi kuisa maarguments still fine. Then obva wavhura curly brackets or curly braces, then you put statements ako mukati. Then panapa, as I have created that function, that product function, I've said int main, then I say int product. Now I'm calling the function to give me the answer, to give me the product of 10 and 4. And I say int product is equals to product function. Then I'm now passing values to the arguments of the function. I'm passing my values like 10 and 4. So which means already the function knows what to do with those values. Dai pari calculator, the moment you hit 1 and 2 and multiply them, the calculator knows there's a function which does that. Even on Android phone, as you pass your password or your pattern, there's a function which is responsible for unlocking your phone when you pass a correct pattern or when you enter the correct password, right? So that's how functions are used. That's how functions are powerful, how they impact on, I mean, I don't know what to say, but in the world of programming, mafunctions mazita awo anoshedzwa zvakasiyana depending on the programming language, but the terminology or the idea behind the function remain the same. Vamwe vanozenge mati mamethods machii, but the same thing. Some functions may be parameterized, some are not parameterized, some are void function and stuff zvichingoenda zvakadaro. So as you can see, I've called my function, then I'm now printing out the product. Product is equals to %d, then comma product, which means with the function is likely to give me the output, right? Then I say return 0 0 to the operating system, right? Then after that, I've got my control statements. Ambotaura zvemacontrol statements ndikati okay, we have got my if statements, we have got my for loop, we have got my do while, then my switch statement. Let's say the if statement, we are saying if temperature is above, when we are talking about body temperature, if the temperature is above 37, that's not the normal temperature, and we have got the lower temperature. If the body temperature is too low, then you are not feeling well, then the temperature is above the normal, then pane zviri kuitika pauri. Then if it is around 37, 36 point, then you are fine. And kana iri temperature yemuroom matiri kuda kucontrola, matiri kuda kuti munge muine temperature iri optimized. Remember, uri kupisa fodya, you need to optimize your temperature. And oro pane room inochengetedzwa zvinhu zvakakosha kosha stereki. Maybe tine room inochengeterwa mavaccine. We don't need too high temperature or we don't need too low temperature. We have to optimize. So we need a program inotaura kuti no, the temperature is okay, or the temperature is too high, or the temperature is too low. If temperature is above this, then it's too hot. Then tine for loop, for I is equals to 0 to I is equals to 100. Do what? Sum up the elements of an array, do this, print this pattern, right? Then we've got my do while loop. Do ne for loop zvaangoda kufanana, chinongosiyana either way zviri kuita, but they just achieve the same goal. For example, do, you firstly say do wozoti while, condition inozouya kupedzisira. Then we've got the while loop, then we've got the switch statement. The switch statement is only we are selecting, we are having patinoswitcha into a certain condition. Let's say you say switch marks. We've got the case 1, case 2. Case 1 where we are saying kuti pamwe ma-students akaita above 80. Case 2 pamwe ma-students akafeila. Case 3 madofo. Ndo panoshanda switch statement ipapo. We are switching a certain condition. Toona kuti kana tiri palevel rakati tiri kuti zvakati, kana tiri palevel rakati tiri kuti zvakati. Switch height. When the height is 300 tiri kumakore. When the height is 200 takangohengera mumhepo. When the height is 0 tiri paground. I think pamwe ndatsanangura zviri nani. Maybe kana tazowo kurocket science, if we switch distance, if distance kana iri 1 million kilometers tatokumamars, kana ingori 100,000 meters tichiri mumakore, something of that nature, taakurocket science. Then I think ndambotsanangura nyaya yemaflowchart. This is an example of a flowchart, a simple flowchart for a login system, right? I think on daily basis we log in pakawanda, we log in pa Twitter, we log in pa Facebook, we log in pa email, we log in pa portal rekuchikoro chairo, we log in wherever I log in. Tinologa in kubank nepassword. So paunosvika paunoenda ikoko, unosvika pa welcome page, pa landing page. Welcome to Facebook, welcome to Tel1, welcome to CBZ, welcome to ZR, whatever kwashedzwa ikoko. So what about after welcome? Unoenda password. You enter username, you enter password. Then the next thing we need to check, is the password correct? We are now doing nyadzana authentication and stuff. Is the password correct? If yes, then log in successful. Woita business rako kusvika wazoita log out obva wasvika kuend kweprogram. But if not, we give you a chance yekuretry. This is when you go back wodzokera kupi kwawatangira kuya. But ma-attempts ako akaita kana kuti above 3 attempts uri mbavha, taakutotanga kutamba newe. Inobva yafonera mapurisa ipapo system, handiti? So that's how it is. Then tikabva ipapo from this is the basic flowchart. We are going to see that we have got a program iri kushandisa if statement. Ndikati hash include stdio.h, we have got int main, we have got int temperature. This is a variable that I've created inonzi temperature. So I'm saying printf, then I'm prompting to the user to enter temperature. Kuti user akaenda temperature yake, but under normal circumstances this temperature value inenge ichibva kuma-sensors, but now we don't have ma-sensors achona. So I'm just simulating the program inenge ichizoshanda nema-sensors. If I get a certain temperature value from a sensor, if it is above 0 and less than 15, then it's cold. If it's above 60 and below 80, it's hot, something like that. But in this case handina masensor, so ndongoshandisa printf na scanf. So I can say printf enter temperature, then I scanf temperature. So the moment I say enter temperature, I'm telling the user to enter the temperature. Then the user anobvaisa temperature per screen, whatever, anoisa temperature through the keyboard. Then the scanf function gets that input from the user. It scans that value, and this value should be strictly an integer. That is why I say scanf %d. Then I say end temperature. The end operator is a referencing operator, which is pointing to the location yevariable redu mumemory. Iri kutiudza this end operator holds the address of this variable. This variable is located somewhere, so we call it by address. We should know its address. And tikasvika pamba pako iwewe uri kutsvaga pamba pako neaddress, saka tiri kutsvaga kumba kwatemperature neaddress. That's why we use this and operator. We scan f %d and temperature. Then the next thing, we are setting up a condition. If temperature is above 0 and temperature is less than or equal to 15, then it's called, obviously it's called 0 to 15. Then if temperature is greater than 60 and the temperature is less than 80, then we can say it's hot. Obviously it's hot. Paunozotosvika ku100 hatitanyunguruka. So if we are looking at this situation, I would have used multiple if statements ndichingoshandisa else if, but I just used my if to just to demonstrate. I get zvabatika. Then the next thing, ndashandisa futi for loop rangu. In this case now, I'm creating a multiplication table. Yeah, a multiplication table ya7 inotangira pa0 kusvika pa10, right? This multiplication table taakutogadzira zvinhu zvinoshanda. Zvinotangira mukugadzira multiplication table, tozoguma tagadzira makalenda, tozoguma hatichadi zvemakalenda, taakutogadzira manotepad, taakutogadzira manotebook, e-notebooks, taakutogadzira matext editor, taakutogadzira integrated environments, integrated development environments, taakutogadzira maprograms anomutsa marockets, taakutogadzira maprograms anoshanda pakatowanda, right? That's where we should be going. We should not be just doing it for granted. So this is a program inokwanisa kudisplay multiples of 7 using what? Using a for loop. So if you can see, I started by #include the preprocessor command, #include stdio.h. Then I've just say int main, then int number is equals to 7. I have declared a variable and assigned it a variable. Int number, the number is what? It's 7. What do I want to do with this 7? This is when I'm saying for int I is equals to 0, I less than or equal to 10. This is the condition. Then I plus plus, which means I increment. I'm adding up, I'm iterating up, I'm repeating up until I get to the value inonzi 10. I'll increment kusvika ndasvika pana 10. Then I print f %d times %d is equals to %d. Then I say /n, which means new line. Anjati 7 times 0 inobva yati new line, 7 times 1 new line, tichienda takadaro. So this is how it is going to work. Tikati print f %d times %d is equals to %d. Then I say number times I. Then we are done. This is the program for creating a multiplication table using a for loop. So a for loop can be used for a variety of purposes, maybe for traversing array elements, for printing patterns, muda kugadzira pattern enye, kuruka madhoiri nemajuice, you can use this for loop. So these are some of the things achazocherechedza zvakare. Then ichienda next, tine mhuka inonzi array. Array ndo rabva ravharisa musangano, but tichaita zvimwe zvakawandudzwa kumberi uku, tichaita nemapracticals. An array just a set of values akafanana. Let's say bit numbers, marks. So there's no need to create a single variable. Let's say tine marks ako iwewe. We don't need to create a variable for each and every mark. We just create an array. So an array rinoaccesswa nema-index. In this case, the array size is equals to 10. So we say int numbers, then you can write that subscript sign, brackets a4 corner. Then we put the size of an array mukati, and then we say it's equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we say for int I is equals to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, I increment. Print f %d numbers I. handed. So as you can see tazoisa ai mukati memasubscripts kana kuti mukati I don't know patadeclara array tichiisa array size number paya taisa I because this is what you want to get, because this is now an array. So we traverse it through the for loop. So the first step is including this stdio.h, then you say int main, then we declare int numbers to exercise array size yachona kuti is it 5, 10 or whatever, which means it is gonna create 10 memory location yobva yanesa mavariables atinenge taassigna location achineswa nemaindexes, inenge ine maindexes ma-arrays acho anenge aine maadresi awo mumemory imomo. Ma-array elements anenge aine maadresi mumamemory locations maanenge ari. So for int I is equals to 0, I less than 5, plus plus, or I can say I less than 10, I less than 100, whatever, then we can simply print the elements of an array through the for loop. So for today, those were the topics that I managed to bring for you. My name is Chief Lan Cables, the pioneer of technology. My desire is to take technology somewhere, and I believe that in one of the days, Africa gonna become a giant in technology. We are going to create our own compilers, our own softwares, our own operating systems. We are going to develop our own programming languages, our own database management systems. Everything we are going to write from scratch, our own search engines. We shall do my space program, whatever we want, because we have the capability. So thank you very much, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, like, love, and subscribe. I actually created another channel in on the Chiefland Cables Tech. This is where I'll be explaining the matters which are related with technology. As time goes on, uchazoona ndokwanenjikanda matutorials angu. I'm a big fan of mathematics, programming, and technology. I'm going to develop greater technologies that have never been seen, and robotics. So go and subscribe. This is my channel, my first channel. I have only 2 channels here on YouTube. So thank you very much. I really appreciate. Have a nice day and happy coding.